Hi, and welcome to the Twin Sons Podcast, your home for everything Legends of Runeterra. I'm Mike.
I'm Shane.
I'm Josh.
And welcome back. We got episode 54. And if, in case you didn't recognize, that was, again, Mike and Josh. You haven't seen Josh in about a month. And you haven't seen Mikey in about 2 years. I think that's
up.
I gotta check my math. Yeah, we just celebrated our first anniversary. So, yeah, I think 2 years is the correct math. But welcome back, everybody. Welcome back, Mike.
Feels good.
Good. Mike did hop on last week. Actually, he came in clutch. He helped me interview Mr. Riot G Major, aka Mark, and that was really nice of him. He came on. You crushed it. You had some great questions on the fly. You had Mark reeling, so thank you for jumping in there. Josh has been away for like 4 weeks in the West Coast, and he's back for the first time for a while.
Yeah, thank goodness.
Yeah. That interview was fun, man. If you haven't heard that, go check that out, guys. Really good interview, really good questions, and a lot of informative answers. I was super nervous. He's super cute. Go check it out. There's a video on YouTube, and you can also listen to anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Crushed it, dude. Yeah, my favorite thing.
I'm so good at this.
My favorite thing he said was that there was a possibility that elites were going to be in Shurima. I thought that was super sweet when he was talking about the Sand Soldiers possibly having elite. I was like, that's crazy. That was like for me. That was like when Sean was mentioning Nocturne, like shadowing the board. I was like, oh, that's crazy. Like they're going to carry elites over to different regions.
I love the what could have been stuff. Like that's my favorite thing, because then you're like, how would the whole game have been different? What would have the meta have been? Like, would this have been something amazing? Would have been another Lee Sin thing that we hate? I hate.
I think we hate is fair.
The majority hate.
Yeah.
I just don't want to assume anyone's opinion. There's probably somebody who plays Lee Sin and grinded up and then bragged about it.
Somebody, Josh, back in the day with Ezreal.
Might have made it to the Masters, yeah.
Before we jump in any further, as always, we're brought to you by RuneterraCCG.com. Awesome sponsor. Heard there's going to be a really sweet article coming out tomorrow written by me about 5 underrated cards. If you're looking for better articles than that, check out that site. Just today, Agigas highlighted 7 different great decks that are flying underneath the radar currently. There's some spicy stuff in this list for sure. He picked out some cool things, I think using different stats around the web, and found a couple lists that were looking really solid. So if you're checking that out, make sure to stop by and hit up Agigas' article there. Yesterday, Den wrote an Expedition tier list, so if you're looking to, actually grind Expedition again, if you're just getting back into the game, cough, Mike, and you need to use your Expedition tokens if you have any, and you want to make your most out of it and get 7 wins, check out Den's article there for sure. And yeah, just a ton of other great stuff on there, honestly. Even Mezume came in and wrote a sweet tournament meta report from week 1, which is obviously just insane to try to write a meta report in the first week of any new meta, any new cards. Is gonna go crazy. So that's a really good article there to see what people are playing. And there's also 2 new members of Runeterra CCG, Asher and Spakes, both made their first debut articles, so check those out as well. There's a Ladros Timelines deck guide. I'm sure you guys love that deck. And then there's also 3 Talia decks, which is sweet. So check those guys out. And on top of that, we have a little bit of house cleaning to get to. So first off, Josh, welcome back. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Skarzig, Saucy Mailman, the host of the Casuals of Runeterra, and I think all 3 of those guys covered in for Josh when Josh was away. So we had some really sweet episodes before our previous episodes. So all the way from episode 50 to 53 were super sweet, and episode 53 again. Thank you to Riot and Mark, aka Riot G Major, for spending an hour there, and more synergy as well. He was the guy. He's their comms lead. He was really helpful in getting everything set up, and that interview I think went really well, really smooth. So we appreciate them taking the time to work with some scrubs like us. And thank you, Runeterra's Twitter account, for retweeting our tweet. That was absurd.
Yeah, that was nuts.
Yeah, that was pretty insane. A lot of other thank yous.
So many good episodes.
Yeah, Josh was like, wait, what happened?
That's why they were good.
You might be onto something.
Oh my gosh, I'm right back in it. Gone for too long, but I haven't lost a step, baby.
Smart.
Let's go.
Smart. Oh my god. All right, couple more thanks. We got 1,000 Twitter followers, which was pretty cool. We gave away a mouse pad. We got We got this one here with Raven on it. I still have one of these. This is the mouse pad that's going to be in the mail soon, Navalis. If you're watching, listening, I'm sorry, but it's not in the mail yet, but soon. Navalis won on Twitter, so congrats for that. And we actually skyrocketed way past 1,000 too, which is really sweet. Did a bunch of giveaways for the Shurima coming out, which is sweet. At the same time, we hit 400 subs on YouTube, which is awesome. And like I said, did a bunch of giveaways. So thank you guys for tuning into all that stuff. And congrats to all the winners. I think we gave out, like 20-ish bucks and a mouse pad in the last week or two. So Shurima was fun. A few more.
Navalis, he was yelling at himself in Discord, like literally typing to himself, yelling at himself to send out the mouse pad. So I think he got his own message.
Yeah, he's telling Navalis that Shane was yelling at himself.
Yes, I was making sure I really remembered that. I was texting my wife. I was like, I have to mail the mouse pad because this is something I will just forget for months. So Navalis, you will get the mouse pad. I promise. It's coming to you, buddy. A few other shout outs. If you've noticed, if you follow us on any of our social media, then you would have seen all new logos, designs, profile pictures, banners. Huge shout out to Sneak. He absolutely crushed it. He's on Twitter. I shouted him out on Twitter as well. He annihilated. I think our emblem looks awesome. We have a new emblem for Discord, individually for like profile picture for us, but for our Discord as well. New banner and profile picture on Twitter. You'll see on SoundCloud and everything as well will be Mikey Redeems Challenge Me on Twitch Live. Great, Mike. We're going to have to stop and play. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, seriously, Sneak absolutely crushed our design. So if you notice new designs, the old logo's still out there somewhere, but the new design is out everywhere I can get it. We'll also, I think Mikey's working on getting some stickers with that new logo. So we have stickers of the old logo still as well. So we'll be using both a little bit. And the final thank you is to Crip. We got a new Patreon, so I appreciate it, Crip. Very much appreciate it. He has he's been a silent man in Discord. He's been there from the beginning. He's just lurking in the background, but he's been listening since like episode mad early is what he's told us. So we really appreciate it. Thank you very much, Crip, as well. And then we're going to get back to some normal stuff here. So, if you guys are new to the show, we're going to jump right into some favorite moments of the week. Anyone want to go first? Josh, you've been away. You want to hit with your favorite moment of the week?
Yes, it was actually, I think it was while I was away. Yeah, I think it was while I was away. But actually, when the Shurima first came out, I was messing around with Kindred. And I decided, for some reason I have this really bad habit. When things get nerfed, that means things don't get played. So I go and play them.
Yes.
So I tried to pair Kindred with Aphelios, and I was playing this game against I think it was like a Nasus Shadow Isles deck, and I got my Kindred leveled up, and they ended up being like a 12-10, and the opponent had an unleveled Nasus that I was just like stunning over and over again with Graviton. He ended up being 15-15 because the game is like turn 10, whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
So he was a pretty big Nasus. Well, I ended up using Aphelios' weapon that gives the overwhelm. Is that Severum?
No.
No, that's not Severum. It's that's the one that gives the lifesteal, right?
Yeah, I'm just gonna see if you know.
Crescendum?
No, Crescendum's the one that summons the follower.
I only know the names. I don't know what the cards are.
It's Infernum.
Infernum. There you go. Okay. Yeah. So I gave that to Kindred. So now she's a 14-11.
Makes sense.
I grabbed some Nasus again. I think that was like the fourth time or something like
just
that. So
lock him into a corner.
I was abusing a combo with the Unto Dusk on Aphelios, so I was like getting like 2 Gravitums per round.
Love it.
It was pretty ridiculous at times. But so I Gravitum him, but he right of negations it. So then I swing. He blocks with Nasus, of course. So I have a Pale, so I'd be killing his Nasus. And then he tries to Atrocity, but I use the Spirit's Journey. I think that's what Kindred spell is called. And I stop the Atrocity and get 17 full damage through to the Nexus and win the game. So it was a pretty nice, almost OTK.
Any story that involves Josh stopping an Atrocity
is right?
instantly his moment of the week.
There's actually a lot of counterplay for it now, which is incredible. I've hated that card since day one.
I'll just run 3.
It's funny. I would literally am writing in top 5 underrated cards, and I put Spirit Journey on there, and I definitely underrated that card as well. But it has a lot of crazy interactions like that. It's not a replace effect like Stand United, so it does like completely stop the actual spell from going off because it's a new unit
Yeah.
gets summoned, so it's a different target.
Mm.
Pretty nuts. Mike, do you have a favorite moment of the week?
Basically any moment that I've played Renekton. He is the most fun I've had with the champ in a while, and I'm really digging into the overwhelm. But as far as a more specific story, when I first got back and I have no cards, nothing new, and I don't know what to do, where do I turn but Prankster Burn?
Absolutely.
And first game back, I think I was fighting like TF and I think an Elise, something weird. We go back and forth, trade blows, and it's such a good feeling. Just slowly, I literally didn't do any direct damage for some reason. I literally only killed them with the pranksters and the collector damage. Literally just from the back line, blew them up. So fun. And then the last hit, I used a mystic shot. So they were a little
Well
pissed
done.
about that, and I got emote spammed. So being emote spammed was the moment of the week that I remembered. First game back, and I get emote spam. He's probably like, dude, play some new cards. What are you doing? I'm like, I don't have any.
I don't. Hey, dude, I just came back, man. Let me prankster burn
One
you.
Shurima card. What do you want from me?
My God. Prankster's legit, and there's new prankster decks running around right now, and they're also legit. So that's fantastic. Okay, mine goes along with what I learned this week. So Josh had me playing one of his decks, which was Sever LeBlanc and Darius, and I ended up I guess moment of the week was I had 3 Black Rose Spies in hand, and I copied 3 Darius. So I made 3 additional Dariuses, which was hilarious because it's 3 Dariuses. But the
Is it
funny
Darii?
part, Darii, I think. That sounds weird.
Or is it like Moose, where it's just Darius?
It's just Darius is any number of Dariuses. Wait, yes. Essentially, what I learned though was that, and this could be a bug. I didn't get confirmation. I asked on Twitter. I didn't get confirmation. It could be a bug, but essentially, I had brought their Nexus down to 7 health with a Darius attacking. So Darius was level 1. He attacks, they block, and the overwhelm damage brings the Nexus down to 7, but Darius dies in exchange to that. So now Darius is dead, so he didn't see the Nexus get below 7, so he didn't level on that interaction. He just struck and died. I play the first Black Rose Spy, and it copies. It's 5, the strongest ally that struck that has at least 5 power or whatever gets copied. So it was Darius, but it copies an exact Darius. That Darius hadn't leveled up yet because he didn't see the Nexus damage go. But the Nexus is at 7, and Darius just says level when the Nexus is at 10 or less. So Darius should level, but he doesn't.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on.
It sounds like they... Oh, no, not even. I was going to say it sounds like they have more of it, like, once you pass 10, once you pass that threshold. But it doesn't make sense because if you play Darius lower than 10, he still levels
Right,
up.
he still levels up, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Because, essentially if it was like, all right, if he had to see it get below 10, that would make sense. But this is like a weird interaction. So I'm assuming this could be a bug.
Because summoning?
It's something an exact copy, but he should still... The Nexus is below 10. He should level, unless it's a really weird... I think it's a bug. But I literally played 3 Black Rose Spies. So I had 3 level 1 Dariuses on my board. And then on my opponent's turn, I decimate. And then strike the Nexus for 4. And now the Nexus goes down to 3, at which Darius levels up. So it's just like his level up condition just went to like, it has to be 5 health or less for this game for some reason. But got him down to 3, and then just all 3 Dariuses level up. And I'm just like, this is power. And then, that was the moment of the week and what I learned. And what I learned should be a bug. So I'll report back in a week or 2 if I find out that this is in fact a bug.
Yeah, Black Rose Spy is so fun. There's so many different, like kind of combos. And I guess part of what I learned this week is that Black Rose Spy can level on defense. It can level off of strike spells. Anytime there's a strike, you can... I said leveled, but I meant trigger her effect.
Right. Play.
So really cool, really... It's a really weird, so if we play it as a 2-drop, it's just a 3-2, which isn't that bad of a stat line. But then in the late game, it actually has value, so it's a super flexible card. I've had a lot of fun with her this week.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. That card I can't afford.
Yeah.
Yep. At first, I was talking to Shane, being like, I don't know about Black Rose Spy. It seems a little weird. And then the next game, it was like two Darius were on the board because of Black Rose Spy. And I was like, this card is incredible. And
Black
then the
Rose
next game, it was
Spy.
like another Sivir and another Rune Runner. So it was like two Sivers and two Rune Runners because of my Black Rose Spy. So I was like, this card is amazing.
He's pretty good. He's pretty good, or she's pretty good, whatever it is. I haven't actually looked at that art. But yeah,
It's the real LeBlanc.
I would
It's-
like to point out that Josh even used Darius as plural.
we're learning things. Did you guys cover? So, Mike, what did you learn this week?
So I, as always being the casual one in the group, I learned how Jarvan actually works with being played. Because I kept thinking and assuming in my head that it would be like, oh, I have to wait for his card to be like highlighted in the yellow so it's activated, and then I send it or whatever, and it wasn't working. I didn't get it. I kept always attacking with not 6 mana or something like that, and
It's
I
like, where
never
is he?
understood
Why
how
is
it
he not
worked.
coming out?
Yeah, and then I thought, okay, well maybe I have to play him, and when I attack with 6 mana, he gets Challenger, and he can just go, and I kept missing what it actually was, so
That's hilarious.
I googled it.
Like,
And then I was like,
I remember you asking, like, how does he come out? I'm like, what?
yeah, whatever. That's
Dude,
what I
listen.
learned.
Somebody else doesn't know as well, and you just help somebody.
Right,
So
right.
good job.
You out there? Look at me. Look at me. Look at me.
Listen to me. Now you know.
Now.
He literally comes out on the board when you attack and you have 6 mana, 6
That's
unit mana. Josh, did you go over what you learned, or is there something else?
I learned something with the Black Spy, but I also learned something else that I thought was a little weird with how the game has worked before, but it kind of makes sense. It's kind of like a Tom Kench scenario if you're trying to eat something and Tom disappears. But basically, when Talia's attacking and she gets her 3 stone thingies that come onto the board, if Talia is removed, then the stone things fizzle.
Oh, okay. Because she doesn't have a blocker at that point, because she's not on the board.
Yeah, yeah, and I guess she just physically can't throw the stones. Just
Makes
like
sense,
Tom can't physically eat a target. So that's the only way that I can wrap my head around it. It's the only interaction that I could think of that was consistent.
Yeah,
But,
makes sense.
It's kind of weird because it's in the queue
Yeah.
as like doing 2 damage, but
Yeah, it's in
it's
the
like-
queue to deal 2 damage to her blocker, but then it looks for her blocker, and she's not on the board, so then it just fizzles because of that, I guess.
yeah, I guess so. It's a little weird. I don't know if it's a bug. I don't know if that's intended. It's just a little odd because at least with Tom, it's like, yeah, he's physically not there to eat something.
Right, yeah.
But this one's just like a damage spell.
Yeah, it's like the
think
blocker's
that-
still there. It's just she's
Yeah,
not.
You think that it being in queue, like the rocks were already thrown,
Right.
just waiting to hit? I don't know.
Yeah, I can wrap my head around that a little bit, but yeah, it still is weird. That is still weird. She's
Yeah.
pretty fun, though.
Yeah, I was just sad when Talia got removed and my stones fizzled.
My rocks went away. All right, so we are going to jump into a bunch of main topics. We used to do favorite moment of the week, vault rewards, rank updates, all these other things. If you guys have been sticking with us from the beginning, we shift away from that a little bit just because Runeterra decides to drop so much news every single week. It became obnoxious to try to keep up with. And also, we started to have a plethora of guests on the show, so we didn't we weren't really able to do that every single week. But we wanted to shout out our roots a little bit in this episode with some of that, so we did. Moving on, so Shurima just dropped. Mikey can't afford any of the cards, but Josh and I luckily can, and we have thoughts on what our favorite things about Shurima are. So let's just talk a little bit about Shurima in general, what it brings that you're excited about. Mike, you said you liked Renekton, though, so you can afford Renekton?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had some wild cards left over, and then opened my vault, the level 1 vault that had been sitting there for a bit.
Yeah.
And then I just opened this week's vault too, so I have a little bit to dabble with. So I made a little bit of Freljord Shurima Overwhelm decks because that seemed really fun and efficient.
Yeah.
So I would say the best part so far, especially from what I've played too, because I'm still seeing the cards like with my opponents because everyone wants to try Shurima. Shurima brings a lot. Shurima can be fast. Shurima can have plenty of tricks and stuff I've seen. Shurima's got plenty of combos, which is super cool. I think it's a very diverse region that can mix well with a lot of other regions, more so than some that we already previously have. So I guess all that it brings is just so fun. I mean, come on, I'm getting to the point. Renekton's awesome. How fun is that?
Renekton.
Sorry, I beat around the bush to get to the main point.
Yeah, no, he's insane. He fits in the mind. So I think my favorite part about it is probably the aggression. Like Targon was very interesting, very cool. I really dug it. I bought the board. I bought, I own all the cards instantly because I play this game way too much. But like, really dug what Targon brought, and I love the celestial kind of stally type vibes. But then you could play it mid range, and like the aggro side of it never really took off. Like there is like a cheap celestial package that's fun, and Aphelios is kind of moving in that direction where he's most likely winning the game pretty early. Even if he's not finishing the Nexus, he's putting you in a spot where you probably lost pretty early, like, Aphelios TF. So, it wasn't, even with that being said, it wasn't the most aggressive region. So I've just been loving, like, the pure aggression that Shurima's bringing. I don't know, I wasn't expecting that as much. And, we talked about Renekton plenty with Ruin Runner as well, with a ton of aggression. But, like, the Sand Soldier army makes me feel like a Necromancer, which is amazing. Like, I love just casting, all these soldiers are just charging out. I'm using the 7-cost spell to summon 6 of them, the 4-cost one to give them all +1. Like, I'm going nuts with Sand Soldiers in a few decks. And then I literally love Ruinous Path, the Doom Beast spell. Like, that is just extra little bit of reach that this has. And when Doom Beast came out for Shadow Isles, it opened up that archetype a little bit where now it's like, all right, aggro Shadow Isles or mid-range Shadow Isles has a little bit extra reach. So using Ruinous Path is such a good card for that, to add that little bit of reach. So just all those things of just like the aggressive nature of this region has been what's speaking to me so far, which isn't always true. I'm not always like the most aggro type player. Normally mid range, and I've kind of fallen into the mid range category. But some of this is just so much fun to just beat down people with. So that's mine.
Yeah.
What do you got, Josh?
Yeah, I think basically so with Targon, we kind of moved to this like backline strategy, or like backline until you have lethal kind of thing.
Right.
Where this, people kind of underplayed when it was coming out. People underplayed the in-your-face value, where I guess we haven't really seen just like heavy hitters come out.
Yeah.
Like in the mid game, besides like maybe original Heck Room. But basically, we see LeBlanc and Sivir. I know LeBlanc's Noxus, but basically they've opened this archetype with mid-range, like basically pure mid-range, heavy hitting. Like you are going to overwhelm them or do a ton of damage just because of board control.
Yep. Exactly.
Through combat, like right away, which I thought is like we went away from it with TF and Aphelios, and then we're coming back because we have people like Renekton, Sivir, we have LeBlanc, we have Nasus, which is just kind of like in your face, big chunky units that can, basically trade into anyone pretty well, like favorably. So I really like that it is kind of brought back to this combat centric feeling, and instead of how do I remove this TF? Like I always need to get him off as soon as he does, but now it's like I'm gonna have things to kill TF that are on the board.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I feel like this has brought in a lot of fun combat-oriented Runeterra, which is, I believe the best parts of Runeterra is when you're using your champions in combat, right? Like, I mean, that's what the game's based on. It's based on League of Legends, which is, you're playing as one champion, and even if you're a healer, you're still in combat, like you're fighting, So these champions feel like, Azir is, the one exception, I think, from Shurima, who's kind of backlined, just, all right, send my waves out, but like, Talia wants to get in there, use her spell. Sivir is all about attacking. Renekton's all about attacking. Nasus is all about waiting and then annihilating. Like, it's just bringing back that vibe for me. And I know there's a few people out there who aren't happy with the meta right now, and there's some combos that need addressing for sure, and we'll talk about those. But, I mean, overall, I think between Exhaust, Roiling Sands, Predator, Ruthless Predator, all these ways to get vulnerable out there, and then these, the access to Challenger with the lucky finds that Sivir's package has. It's super fun and super combat oriented, and even the spells like Quicksand is all about just kind of like a freeze, but it's all combat oriented. Just let's fight. It feels fun to me, and I'm having a blast, even with old things still being good. I'm still having a blast.
Yeah. Well, I kind of feel like it's not. So it doesn't necessarily have the removal, but it kind of reminds me of Shadow Isles, because Shadow Isles covers it can be aggressive, it can be mid-range, it can be stall.
Yeah.
And Shurima does all of that. So like Azir can be aggressive or can stall. You have your Sivir Renekton's that are super mid-range. You have your Nasus, which is mid-range or stall. It really feels kind of Shadow Isle like. It has its own strengths. You're still using the ephemerals, you're still summoning things. It's just in a different way.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm digging everything. I mean, I think there's. I guess if I would have to pick something that I was kind of surprised by so far, once we saw everything that was coming out, once the final release happened, which was Azir, I kind of knew. I'm like, all right, well, I don't think the Predict pack, like Predict is really good, and Chronomancer is going to see play, and Ancient Preparations is going to see play, but it's just not there to be like a whole archetype yet. I kind of knew that. The thing I'm surprised about is there's a lot of champion love in Shurima, and we're not really seeing a lot of those cards right now. Like the Allegiance, right? Like the Allegiance cards, draw a champion, give it +2/+2. The Sun Disc was a meme for a couple days, but we're not really sure how competitively viable it is. And it even has a bug that you can abuse right now, and it's still not really being seen. So I think that's the one thing that I wish it brought a little bit harder, I guess. I mean, maybe it's just someone hasn't unlocked it yet and figured out the best way to make it happen. But yeah, I really thought, Shurima's champion focus when they released, those first previews with the Allegiance unit, with the guy who's healing your Nexus and all your units too if you leveled the champion, the other girl who has all your units have +2 attack if you level the champion, like that type of stuff. I was expecting to see a little bit more, but we haven't really seen it yet, and it might just be not super competitive just yet, or it might just need a little bit more time to smooth out. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because, so like, there's ways to win without your champion, I guess. So like, if you're playing like the Azir aggressive, like you could get a bunch of Dune runners, and just swarm the board with stuff. It's like Azir coming out definitely isn't the only win con. So I think, so if someone was to fit like Fiora into like a mono, like only Shurima, and then pull Fiora with those kind of things, it might find a play. And as of right now, we don't have, like, we have champs that level up pretty easily,
Right.
but there's nothing like, can I 100% get this on curve? So then when I'm, if this champ levels, do this, and it might just be because we haven't had the whole expansion come out yet. So there might be more stuff coming, and champs that level super easy and on curve to abuse that package that you're just talking about.
Yeah, I was definitely expecting like Zoe or like Teemo, like more meme decks, like giving them +2/+2 and drawing them, or Mikey to run Garen, draw him, give him +2/+2. 7/7 Garen. Seems good.
I need to get mastery level 5 for Garen. I gotta do that. I gotta get on that.
Yeah, I mean, hey, that's in the game now too. So I think my highest is still only a 1. It's deep. It's a lot of games.
Yeah, it is. I think I have like 3 level 1 champions.
Yeah, it is a lot of games, and it's funny. Like Josh's deck with 3 champs with Darius, LeBlanc, and Sivir. I was like, hey, this has a bonus value now because they're all getting mastery progress. So if you don't know what 3-drop to run, just splash like a random champion in there or something. It'll work. All right, moving on from just what we think about Shurima in general. What have you guys been playing with a lot this week? Mikey, you want to go first? What have you been playing other than? I mean, I know Renekton's there. Anything else?
It's pretty much Renekton and then another champ. So I've tried a little Renekton J4. It didn't go as well as I wanted, just because there's so much. I have so much Challenger, but the units weren't staying on the board quick enough, or I didn't really have any favorable trades a lot of the time. So I kind of stepped away from that. So I was like, okay, well, who else do I know is a lot of overwhelm and an aggressive package? So I threw in Noxus and Darius to try to get that working. That's had a little bit more success. But I just wanted, again, something to keep more of the units alive and healthy, and just make more favorable trades other than just like blasting the enemy with a spell or whatever. So I don't have to trade. Then my unit doesn't attack or whatever, but unless it is overwhelmed. So I went Freljord. So right now I'm on Sedge Renekton, and it's been nice with the freezes, so I'm not losing health on the units that I'm attacking with. Even if I'm not getting overwhelm damage through, at least my people are surviving, so I can send bigger attacks later. The Battle Fury is great when I just really need to push the damage over the top. So yeah, that one's been doing really well, and it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, what Battle Fury on Renekton he just levels, right?
Yeah, it just goes to 12.
It's not bad.
Yeah, and then if he challenges something, that's more.
Yeah. Right. If you actually got a challenge off, it's 14 attack on level 1 with nothing else. Wow, yeah.
That's crazy.
That's a thick boy. I didn't think of that. Yeah, I love going
that's
back
my
to
croc.
Battle Fury. That's my croc. Yeah, I love going back to Battle Fury. Like I did it with Riven to try to double it. Happened one game out of like 15. I was like, all right, I can delete this deck now. But yeah, it seems a lot more viable with Renekton. Actually helps him level up. Yeah, that's solid. That is solid. I've
Yeah.
seen a few of those decks going around too. I mean, definitely on the stuff. I've seen Mogwai talking about, I think, Jarvan Renekton at one point. I know Rico Rex is like all over every Overwhelm deck, so I'm sure he's touched on at least one or two of those at one point.
He's
Yeah.
heavily inspired most of the decks I've tried to dabble with.
Yeah, I mean, he is like the go-to Overwhelm guy, so I'm sure as soon as he saw Renekton, he was like, I know what I'm playing this expansion.
Yeah, that's his croc.
It's his croc. You're just borrowing it. Josh, what have you been playing?
I started with Kindred. I was trying a bunch of nonsense. I tried putting her in a go hard deck. I tried putting her with a Philios. Yeah, I tried P and Z at first, and then I realized that there was a broken combo, so I stopped using it. And then I moved over to Darius and Sivir, and I think I underplay how big Spell Shield is, especially in a space where, you know, removal isn't, like, removal spells aren't that great as of right now, just because of how many, you know, units are going on the board for decks and just how in your face things are right now.
Right, exactly.
So things with Spell Shield are super huge. So Sivir and Rune Runner is like a crazy package. But so I paired them with Noxus, obviously Sivir and Darius. And I was like, wow, this is a really fun archetype that I feel like we haven't really gotten to see. You know, just Noxus, like the Sejuani Ash kind of plays on it, but not to the extent that, you know, Noxus Shurima does, where you just start putting these at least 5 damage cards down there and, you know, just going to town, just trading like favorably pretty much everywhere. And then you have the spell shield to protect, so they need to use at least 2 spells. So you're really like, it's really this like mind game of like, okay, if I don't play Sivir here, then I can play her next turn, and I force them to, you know, if they spend any mana, they can't remove her at all, or they're going to have to do they're going to have to use like 2 or 3 cards to even get her off the board.
Right,
So it's
exactly.
really a cool, like, have these heavy hitters, but you can kind of like passively play because you have these heavy hitters. You just have to make sure they hit. So then I've seen the deck going around LeBlanc and Sivir, but I was like, I was doing really well with Darius. So I was like, I really think we need a finisher to kind of push this deck through. So I'm now running LeBlanc, Sivir, and Darius. And when that curve happens, it is some of the most fun. You know, LeBlanc turn 3, Sivir turn 4, Rune Runner turn 5, Darius turn 6. And literally, if you could just get that combo, it's like you won the game.
I mentally tried thinking of another acronym for those 3 champions, but if you go in mana order, I don't want to use that acronym. It's LSD, I think, right?
Oh, if you had Rune Runner, I mean, if you just did the champions, yeah, it's LSD.
LSRD?
Yeah, LSD.
You got to get Rune Runner in there. It's probably the most important one.
Yeah, you guys need it. It's important for the curve.
Yes. Yeah, no, that deck's a blast. I think, I definitely think, you know, I'm writing an underrated article, and you can't really talk about underrated in Runeterra right now without talking about LeBlanc. I mean, LeBlanc got revealed, and everyone was just dunking on her. Like, this is the worst design I've ever seen. She sucks. We have, as a community, we have this like, you know, bad habit of looking at 2 HP and then looking at Mystic Shot and just thinking something's unplayable. And it's, you know, it's silly because, you know, TF has 2 health and he's been the top of the meta for ever. So, yeah, I don't know what people were thinking exactly, that she was just awful. You know, I wasn't super excited about her, but personally, I didn't think she was as bad as everyone was saying she was. She's got quick attack and 5 attack, and she helps her reputation a lot. But, you know, she's absolutely underrated. And on top of that, you know, Bloody Business was underrated. I mean, the whole Noxus reveal kind of just went under the radar just a little bit, because, you know, I felt like it was just really solid stuff, and they just kind of were like, you know, I don't know how good it'll be or not. So, yeah, that Josh was frozen. Was Josh frozen for you too, Mike?
I think so.
Yes, I was lost for a little bit. I'm sorry,
Dude,
guys.
Josh froze in the funniest freaking position. If you're listening to this, you won't experience it, but if you're watching this on YouTube, I hope my screen captures how funny Josh froze because I thought he was death glaring me for something I said, and I was like, "What am I like saying something against his name?" He was just dead serious.
So, yeah,
Oh my gosh.
my internet decided to go out for the 5 seconds.
Absolutely hilarious. But I was saying LeBlanc underrated, Bloody Business underrated, and if
I
you're
love Bloody
looking,
Business.
Bloody Business is crazy strong. And Josh's deck will be in my article tomorrow. So if you're looking for that deck, it will be as an example of why LeBlanc and Bloody Business are underrated cards, which they definitely are. I've been playing a little bit of everything. I was playing Josh's deck for a little bit. I was playing Renekton Darius. I didn't try Renekton Sejuani yet, but Mikey's inspired me after watching him play. His curve looked really good. Troll Chant looks really good in that deck. Definitely going to give that a shot. I was playing Jarvan Shen for a while, and then I wanted to start experimenting, but I fell on Nasus and Elise deck. You know, I saw Nasus and Thresh going around, Nasus and Azir, and just kind of like, you know, using Doom Beast and Bakai Reaper and just things like that to push like a ton of damage. But I don't know, I wasn't feeling like the Thresh variation fit my playstyle, or he just wasn't doing his thing often enough for me. So I went with Elise to put a little bit more pressure and a little bit more fearsome at the beginning. Plus, that extra Spiderling gives you a nice body to sacrifice, which is good. And that deck's been working pretty well. It's a slow grind. I got up to Plat 1. I got like 5 more games or 4 more games to go or something like that. I don't want to switch it up and experiment right now, but what Josh was saying earlier was really interesting too. And Mikey too. You guys were both talking about how you think Shurima can go with so many regions. And like, I just haven't tried that many regions yet, which makes me sad. You know, I've tried Noxus and Shadow Isles.
You can't limit yourself,
Yeah.
man. I know Shadow Isles is your favorite, and
I
I
know.
know Noxus seems really good, but like Shurima, Shurima has reaches everywhere. Like, isn't it in the heart of Runeterra actually too? I think it's in like more of the center of the map.
That would
Oh,
thematically
my
fit.
book. My book is over there.
On the screen, look! Oh,
I could get my book, but
don't. Everyone has the internet. You're fine.
I love it.
Down boy.
but
yeah.
but yeah, I feel like a lot of people have funneled into Shurima with Noxus, Shurima with um, Shadow Isles, and there's also been some crazy Shurima with Demacia. Uh, that Lucian Azir deck.
That's true. That deck is I
That
didn't
first
mention
week,
that.
I got ran over so many times.
Yeah, I saw it once today too. But you're right. The first couple days, that deck was popping off. Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like people have some sort of people are tired of Targon.
Yeah.
And I feel like no one has even touched experimenting with the Shurima package in Targon, and
It's true.
Targon has proven to go with a ton of stuff. So I am pretty sure there's going to be some type of synergy there that has not been seen yet.
You know what else
Um,
Targon has, Josh? It has
Thanks.
an overwhelm unit with spell shield. It has grandfather removal. The bigger
It does.
ruin runner. So you can.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot you can run. You can run a lot of spell shield in that deck, Josh.
That's my next task.
Grandfather removal, baby.
The Rune Runner can use some more health sometimes, so maybe she
Hey.
just needs a hug.
Hey, +4 health on him and Sivir. Sign me up, dude. I know what Josh is doing tonight.
Up for it. Shurima Targon.
Shurima
Gotta get
Targon.
Grandfather Mule.
All right, so we have been playing with these cards a good bit now, right? I mean, about like 10 days or so. If we had to pick anything that we think is going to get nerfed first, what is the expectation? Josh.
Twisted Fate.
Twisted Fate. Good answer.
It's
I
not.
needed so much more time than that.
It's not. It's not Shurima. But if anything was going to get touched, if there was any update, I think Twisted Fate has to. Just
Yeah.
I love playing as him. He's like, when you play him, it's just like a different feel. It's just like a different vibe when you're playing decks that he plays, and it's really fun and feels very interactive. And it's just very flexible, so you can do a ton. But we're at the point where there's so much draw in the game, and so many ways to abuse, drawing a ton, playing this cheap stuff, that he's had probably like 6 decks in the past like 3 months that have just been tier 1, tier 1, tier 1, tier 1.
All different
And
too. It's like
yeah, Go Hard, Phileas TF, TF Fizz. There's some more that I can't even think of.
TF
But,
Swain.
TF Swain.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
they're all so vastly different decks and what they do and what game speed they want to play. Like, something has to happen. You know, he is a fun champ. I don't want him to die. Like, I don't want him to get absolutely nerfed to the ground, but he does too much.
Yeah, well, I'm really surprised it's taken as long for people to realize that, you know, TF with pick a card can literally just fit into any deck. Like, literally just make anything good because of how flexible he is and how quickly he gets online with that stuff.
Yeah.
So I feel like it might be a combination of, you know, TF's leveling go up because there's so many, you know, draw mechanics in the game now.
Yeah.
As well as, you know, maybe pick a card going to 4 mana. I think it might be a combination of that. People really want Burblefish to be touched, but like, yes, Burble with iterative is crazy good.
It makes
But
pick a card even dumber too, because you know
It
you play
does.
this for free. So
yeah, I don't think Burble will get touched, and I don't making it a 2/1. I think kills the card.
yeah, it might.
So I think if I was going to say non-Shurima nerf, TF for sure.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean, like, you know, something has to happen. He's been too dominant for too long. He does way too much. So I'm with you there. Mike, I'll go next because I know you got to think here, buddy. You know, even if it's just something you hate, Mike, you know, you haven't been playing that much lately. So if you just hate something that you're like, I want them to nerf this.
Hold on. Actually, I will say I have a Twitter account, and
He
I've
has a
heard
Twitter.
there's something going on with Ledros. So
Yeah,
for
that's
those
what-
of you who are on my level, let's talk about that. What is going on with Ledros and why is it happening?
So
'Cause
that's
whatever it is, that card should be touched.
that's my answer. So yeah, Concurrent Timelines is a 1 mana Piltover spell that costs, like I said, costs 1. It's a slow spell. So essentially, it makes anytime you play a unit from your hand, you summon it. When you play a unit from your hand, you actually change it, like transmog it to a different unit of the same cost. So that's what Concurrent Timelines does. So the problem with Ledros currently is that Ledros is a 9-cost unit. There's only a certain amount of 9-cost units in the game, and there's not a lot of them. So when you play Ledros, you have a 60% chance, I believe it is, to actually transfer. Cause I think there's 6 9-drops. Ledros is 1 he can't turn into himself. So there's 5 other 9-drops he can turn into. So there's a 60% chance you see the Dreadway. The Dreadway makes anything that deals damage double the damage. Any spell, skill, or minion attack damage, anything gets doubled. But technically
Ledros damage.
But you played Ledros first. So Ledros' spell goes into the queue. He transforms in the same action into the Dreadway, and now on the stack is a skill that says deal half your opponent's Nexus, but doubling half is all of your opponent's Nexus.
Right.
I think the only way around it is if you have a tough Nexus with level 2 Lysandra. I think that gets around it. I think it leaves you at 1 health.
I mean, you could also remove the Dreadway and stuff.
The only way around the not dying from that. Yeah, there's a lot of answers. You can just deny Ledros' spell. You can silence the Dreadway. You can kill the Dreadway with Vengeance. There is a particular amount of answers that are finite. Like I said, deny works. Also, Rite of Negation works now because that stops spells as well, or skills as well. So there's answers. It's just a really feel bad moment. You get to turn 9. They've already played Concurrent Timelines, and that happens. It's on my nerf list, and it's not even on it because of that interaction. So everyone's freaking out about that interaction. It hasn't proven to be that competitively viable. People aren't just climbing ranks with this thing like crazy. It doesn't have an insane win rate, but it feels awful, and it also just feels awful in the mid game. Like, there are plenty of times where they just play, something. I've seen plenty of decks use it, but they just play, like, the Blighted Caretaker, who's a 3-drop 2/1, right? They play that. They kill their thing they want. They summon 2 2/1s with Challenger, and now their crappy 2/1 3/1, 3-drop that's a 2/1 just turns into an actual good 3-drop. Like, it is infuriating to play against, and it just fixes a lot of the curve issues that they've had, where they just kind of, just get 3 options. I'm going to pick whatever I want. And one of the biggest annoying parts is that it's a 1-cost spell. So they play it on turn 1. So even if you're running like Nopify, if they play it on turn 1, you don't even have 2 mana to stop it.
Right. It's gonna happen.
It
And
just
you're
happens.
stuck with it. So wait, they pick what follower? They get like options of 3 or something? What is
Yeah,
it?
exactly. They get options of 3, and they can pick whatever one they want.
Yeah. That's
It's super
feel
RNG heavy.
baddy, and I
Yeah.
wouldn't want it to be like, oh, just you get a random one because then it's RNG-ish, and we don't want really much of that either.
Right.
And it just seems silly because like the only 2 actions that they really need to care about is turn 1, get that spell out. The rest of the game, they don't care if they're hitting Nexus, they don't care what they're doing, they're just going to defend or whatever. They're not trying to target your champions, and then just get to turn 9 and play Ledros, and then just fingers crossed. That's not very like
Yeah, just run 3 Ladros and
interactive.
play him 2 times,
right,
play him 3
it's
times.
not. It doesn't encourage interaction at all. It encourages you to not interact with your opponent and just defend.
Yeah, you're right.
And so I don't know. It's just
So the one
I don't like
thing,
that.
I guess it's 2 things. So this kind of, Targon's Peak has had the same type of reaction. People
Yeah.
were calling for the nerf right away. People were saying this is broken. Turns out it just sat at like a 50 or below win rate, and there just were some high rolls, and then it ends up phasing out because people realize they can't climb with that. I'm pretty sure concurrent timelines is on the same path, so I don't think it'll be touched at all. If more broken combos come out, like with the 8 drop, 7 drop, 6 drop, to where
Yeah, right.
the Ladros isn't the only win condition, then yes, it'll definitely break. And definitely needs to be changed in some fashion. But I don't think anything is going to get touched off of this. I think it was one of those things where Riot knows this interaction, and they want people to go crazy over it for a couple days, and then it just kind of fizzles out. Kind of like Boxtopus, it might still need to be changed, but Crescendum summoning a 3/4 Boxtopus was hated for 2 weeks, and now no one's talking about
Oh,
it.
I hate it still, guys. Just I want to go on the record. I hate that freaking interaction so much.
Yeah.
No,
But,
it's a good point.
Yeah, so I think concurrent, there's a lot of, people hating on it. There's a lot of that stuff right now, but I actually don't think that it will be touched. They love just tickling the RNG enthusiasts, while also triggering a bunch of other people for losing a game here and there.
Yeah, I mean, what was it? The University of Piltover? That card had a similar reaction, not as much as Targon's Peak, but I remember when that first came out, people were very upset, like, oh, he got 3 random cards, they were really good. Like, yeah, same with the treasure, right? The deep treasure that does stuff. Like, people will complain about RNG. It's gonna happen.
It's kind of crazy because I forget. I think it was Phoenix Clops. I think I saw a response and it made me really think. So like that is pure like in your face RNG. That is very obvious RNG. But what people don't realize is the TF Fizz, they use suit up.
Oh
And
yeah, dude.
drawing suit up and getting 2 is definitely worse RNG than
Yeah.
concurrent timelines, which you can prepare for. You see like a Kindred Elise coming in, and you just know you need to save your removal just for the 3 Ladroses that come down there. So you can prepare for it. It's super frustrating if you don't draw anything, or
Yeah.
your deck isn't suited to deny or kill or do whatever. There's like a ton of regions have a ton of stuff, like Entomb works, Spirit's Journey works, Deny works, Red Negation works, Concerted Strike works,
Hush
Bloody
works.
Business could
Yeah.
even work, something like that. There's a lot of answers to it, so it's not like you're funneled into having to run Deny because of this.
Right, yeah.
So I think it's just going to fizzle. I think the hype around it is just going to kind of go away until it breaks something else.
You 100% could be right. It definitely is following the same pattern of those things that you mentioned for sure, where there is something that's kind of crazy. It takes off, people get really excited about it. You see it on ladder for a couple days, and then it kind of vanishes. It very well might just be that. My problem with the card is the in between of, it's not one moment of RNG that Yeah, Targon's Peak is like, all right, it happens. Your opponent gets something, you get something. There's really bad moments. There's really funny moments. But, it's not happening until at least turn 5, right? That's what it should be happening on at least. So, like, there's a real feel bad of, like, they play this and the whole game they're getting like 3 good answers in a row on their turn. Like things are just turning into like the best possible units.
Right.
And it just feels like, to me, like out of place completely in lore. It just feels so like it really feels like Hearthstone. This is the first time I felt like this game really felt like Hearthstone, because there's a lot of like, summon a random whatever, summon a random whatever. And Bilgewater has a couple summon random whatevers, a lot of one drops with Double Trouble, Jailbreak, but this one for some reason it just felt really worse. And it could just be me overreacting on week 1, and that could be the whole community. Like Josh said, it doesn't have a crazy win rate and it has answers.
I think last time I checked, it had if you combine all of it, I think it was like a 49 or something like
Right.
that.
Yeah. It's not a crazy win rate at all. It's more, our new players hating this so much that they're not playing the game. That's Mogwai's current hill that he wants to die on, is that, it's awful for the game, because if he was a new player, he saw it, he would just uninstall, which I get. Like, it is a feel bad moment. It is really a crappy moment. But if it just kind of fades, then yeah, okay. But this card does have the possibility to, like, in a set or two, come back and just be a nuisance. Right? It's
Right.
open ended.
So that's what I was saying. If you can combine some, so like Ladros is 60% win.
Right.
If you go to turn 8 and you could get something that's even like 50 to 70% win, so then you have back-to-back turns where it's like, oh, you could break something here. Then that's where timelines has to be changed. I really like people's takes on making it a landmark, because like, why isn't a 1-cost landmark?
Yeah.
Well, like, there's no interaction with it, and if it is a landmark, there's a lot of removal stuff that at least people can run, and still, like, as of right now, Passage Unearned is probably the best counter to it.
Yeah.
One of them. But when are you going to run Passage Unearned? Never.
Right.
But
Exactly.
if it's a 1-cost landmark, you could be running landmark removal already, and it be viable and useful even into other matchups. So.
Yeah, I think I like that change a lot, because if they get it on turn 1, like Shane was saying, the frequency of this, like, it's not just like, oh, they played this one spell that does this RNG thing. This is every turn. This is happening once, right? So
every time you play a unit that's not
every time you play a unit, okay,
that's not a
that's
champion.
terrible.
It doesn't change champions.
Yeah. Well, then you just keep playing. You've plenty of opportunity to play plenty of champions till turn 9, when you finally get the worst feel bad out. So, again, it's not competitive. We're saying that it's got like a 40 whatever % chance of winning, but some people like that high of like, oh, I'm just gonna do this even if it loses or whatever. But it's just not fun for the other person on the other side. They don't know what they're gonna go up against. It's always changing. But I like the landmark change, because again, that's what encourages interaction. I can finally do something about this thing. It is not a status effect that is just going on during this game.
Yeah. That goes to say, like, some people, like Josh brought up a good point. Some people are saying make it a landmark. That I like that. Other people are saying, like, buff the Dreadway to turn 8. And I still have a problem with just how concurrent timelines functions, ignoring the Dreadway Ladros interaction. Like, and I know there's a few people on Twitter who are definitely on my side, and a few people who are just like, delete the card now. Like, I get it. I'm more toward that. But, there are people who, Skarzig especially, he was very like, I think the main problem is, like, the turns before turn 9, when the whole game is just chaos, and it's like, it's fixing these, it's fixing these weird curves that they have that are, just awkward, and it's just all of a sudden working out really well. It's I don't know. We'll see what happens. Josh could 100% be right, and it doesn't get changed first reaction. This next week is going to be a big tell. If this deck, even if it stays at 49% win rate, but it stays at the play rate that it does, it'll probably get nerfed. That would follow the same pattern that, like, Unyielding Spirit did, right?
Yeah.
Unyielding Spirit had a similar win rate, but it stayed at a high play rate because people liked their Fiora not being able to die. So, yeah, I think this week will be a big one to tell where that's headed. All right. Go ahead. Sorry, Josh.
I was just saying, so in the recent tournaments, people have brought it, and it might be one of those things where, like, it's just the suit in because people, like, don't know what to put.
Yeah.
So, like, oh, I could just possibly get an easy win with this.
Right.
Or, they can make their lineup so, like, they know, like, oh, this is a really good win right into this matchup because they're stalling, and so they ban accordingly. So if it affects the tournament meta, then I could definitely see it getting changed. I know people want it to get removed. I am somewhat against that, actually, because I'd rather see, it is a very unique, like, play style, I guess, or a unique piece. Maybe there'd be more interaction to it. Maybe something other than just playing it and stuff happening like throughout the rest of the game. Like there's nothing to it. It's just like you played a card and then there's no skill
Yep.
besides picking a follower, making sure that you click the dread way. That's what the skill is.
Right.
So I'd rather them see it go into a more like them try and rework it rather than delete it.
I mean, this is a really good conversation too, and it does remind me a little bit of like you're saying it's fun to pilot. Other people would be like, I hate piloting, it's stupid. But like people said that about the Celestial package too. They're like, oh, it's too crazy good, it's whatever. But piloting the Celestial package is very tough and very fun. Like when you have to pick what you need, like sometimes like, wow, I could play this free Serpent, but I really freaking need the Spell Shield for 2 mana, and I should probably pick that instead. Like there's this balance to it. So there is a little bit of that. Like you do have to kind of, it's kind of like draft them. You have to just make the best out of what you get with that card. And the other thing that I want to bring up is I have been waiting for a card that the community hates so much that people are asking to delete it just to see what Runeterra does. We've never seen anything get deleted, you know?
Right.
We haven't seen anything other than really, we've seen a lot of number changes to try to nerf things to a point where they're almost unplayable or in a position where it's like, okay, you could play it, but it's very, very specific. I'm super curious. Part of me wants to see the hate for this ramp up just to see what Runeterra would do to it. Because we haven't seen anything like that yet. Like, do they just smash the delete button? I don't know.
Yeah, that's where I'd hope that they wouldn't.
Right.
I hope that they try and make it work.
Yeah,
I would guess that they wouldn't. Honestly, from what we've seen, they're patient enough and they holster enough and they make the good decision by giving it time, letting things play out. They've never like jumped to conclusions.
Yeah.
They've jumped to the rescue with things and like addressed something that was really, really bad, but like you said, just made changes. It was never smash the delete button.
Yeah, patience definitely the best word there. Like they're very just okay. Let's observe, and then we'll make a decision from there. And
Yep.
they've done really well with it. So we're not sure if it's gonna get changed or not, but it's definitely the hot topic button, hot topic issue. I don't know, hot button topic. I don't even know what I'm saying.
Sure.
It's the button of the week. So yeah, we had to definitely speak about that for a little bit. So pretty interesting stuff. To close here, we're gonna look to the future. If you realized and you clicked open Runeterra this week at all, and you went and you hit the news thing, and then you hit event calendar, it did get updated this week. So there's some new stuff coming up. Let's see. We have Empires Ascended just came out on March 3rd. On March 31st, so the end of March, we have Lab of Legends upgraded. Or upgrade, 3 exclamation points. So Lab of Legends, Sean Main, who's been on our show a few times, destroyed that. He was the lead design on that mode, and I didn't see one negative thing about that mode. Everyone loved that. It was like Slay the Spire, like a roguelike deck builder type thing in Legends of Runeterra. It was free to play. All the decks were free. You could just jump right in. If you haven't played Runeterra in a year, you could just jump in and play, and it felt like Runeterra, but it felt like a deck builder. It was incredible. So I hope it's all new champions. I hope it's all new enemies. It got repetitive because the enemies were the same every time. They wouldn't change like in most of those games where the enemies can kind of be random per round. But dude, I cranked all 8 of those to get my icons out. That mode was
Same here.
Amazingly fun. So I'm super excited for March 31st. Mike, did you get a chance to play Lab of Legends or no? That was kind of when you were on a hiatus. Yeah.
Yeah.
So March 31st, you'll get round 2 of it. I think it's actually in the game right now too, so you could go back and play because they have 3 rotating labs. But if you're looking for single player stuff, my goodness, Lab of Legends was incredible. Then April 14th, the big mystery, we have the Lore 1-year anniversary. It's in the event calendar, so I don't think that's just going to be like...
Interesting.
It's going to be something. I don't know if it's going to be free cosmetics or a quest for the day. I don't know.
Let's all take a quick guess, real fast. I think cosmetics and a board and emotes and guardians.
It's fair. Yeah, I think it's going to be like a mini free event pass. Is what I'll say.
Yeah, I'd probably say the same.
I know a lot of people are hoping for like World Championships and stuff announced. There's a lot of people who are like, that's when they're going to announce their big thing, and it could be massive. I'm going to keep my hopes low.
I think I had lower.
Yeah, Mikey's the lowest. I'm here. Yeah, that's April 14th. So to finish out April, remember, we'll talk about this a lot more once we get closer, but they're changing how the seasonal tournament works. So instead of the Last Chance Gauntlet being on the Friday right before, it's actually a whole week before. So the Last Chance Gauntlet will be on the 17th of April, and then the ranked cutoff for the seasonal tournament will be on the 23rd. So you could do the Last Chance Gauntlet on the 17th, and then if you make it in through there, you could be like, all right, well, I'm chilling now. I don't have to grind out rank all week to do that. So it's pretty sweet that you have the whole time to do that as well. The seasonal tournament open rounds will be on the 24th. That will be 9 rounds now. So instead of 5 rounds before, it's 9 rounds. They're 15 minutes shorter each. If you go 9-0, you're in. If you go 8-1, you're in. And if you're the top, like I think it was 14 or 16 players that are 7-2, you're in as well. So you can lose 2 whole rounds and still make it to the tournament. So people can stop crying that they didn't make it in and that it's a single elimination tournament. So yes, stop crying. The seasonal tournament playoffs will happen on May 1st. May 5th will be the new ranked season, and with that new ranked season is expansion 2 of Shurima, which is called Guardians of the Ancient. So, guess as to what Shuriman champ we're getting. Quick, go, Mike.
Zareth.
Zillion.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Zillion. I think one of them's called like the Underworld or something. I feel like that's got to be Zareth.
Yeah, that's
right?
for Zareth.
Mike,
Wait, it's literally called Guardians of the Ancient. Yeah. Zillion literally is.
We do already have a lot of time stuff, like Chronomancer.
Oh yeah, he's coming.
Game.
He's coming.
Yeah,
for
He's
sure.
definitely coming. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just taking
Yeah,
his
right.
time,
Wait, what you said?
right? It was good. Zillion taking his time. Okay.
Oh yes.
Yes. May 19th, another event pass, which of course we'll be doing a giveaway on Twitter for as well, so that'll be fun. And if there's any new Guardians in between this, we'll be doing a giveaway and all that stuff. So follow us on Twitter there. That's episode 54. Is there anything else that we didn't cover? I think we're good. Goals for next week. Mine is to hit diamond. Mikey.
Get more streaming cards and get out of bronze.
That's a good one. Joshua.
Get to a nice medium rare gold.
It's bringing it back, dude.
I'm in.
It's been a
I'm
while.
all about it. It's been a while.
I was like, I don't know where this is going. I forgot what it was. I forgot what it was.
You know what we forgot too? We didn't even say any Shuriman nerfs that we thought. It was just like.
Yeah, I didn't
Other
mean
cards.
from
Yeah.
Shurima. I just meant in general.
Oh
Let's
god,
get
I
nerfed,
had
yeah.
Runeterra open. I was looking through Shurima collection. I'm like, I don't know what should be changed.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest. I actually have no idea.
I think
What
all
I
streaming
feel
cards
it
are
should be.
fine.
Everything
perfect.
feels fair to me right now.
Yeah.
We'll see. Dune
see.
Keeper.
Jousy.
My eyes are on you, Dune Keeper. That dude's good. That's episode 54.
He's real good.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Like always, I don't plug myself enough at the end, but follow us on YouTube. It really, really helps if you guys are supporting us at all by listening to this. A subscription on YouTube means a ton. It really helps us get just larger and larger. It's not for money. It's just for whatever we can actually become, which is great. If you are enjoying any of the episodes where we do have Riot guests on, please make sure to thank the guests. They see your tweets. They see your responses. So if you enjoy when they come on to shows like this to do interviews, spend 2 seconds to just tweet at them and say, hey, by the way, thanks for coming on that. It was really fun. That's the best way we're going to get them to come back, is if they feel like it's being communicated. And we see your guys' reactions. I know, I see the views are way higher on all the episodes when we have a guy on. I know those are really enjoyed by the community, but let's get them to see that as well, so they know that, hey, what they're doing, the hour that he took is actually making a difference in the community. So please spend a second thanking those people when they do come on. Follow us on Twitter. We have a Discord if you're interested. We have a tournament in the works. We haven't run a tournament in a little bit, so the last announcement is a tournament that's in the works. It's going to be a little bit different than before. I have a couple surprises up my sleeves that I'm working on. So when we have full details that we can announce, we'll announce that as well. So until next time, guys, deuces.
See you.
Peace.